Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is The Empress Who Sent Cats to Cyprus. Tonight our story sails far across warm blue water. We are going to an island shaped like a sleeping fish. It is called Cyprus. On the south side of Cyprus sits a quiet seaside city. Its name is Limassol. The sea here smells of salt and old olives. The streets smell of fresh bread and sun-warmed stone. It is almost bedtime there. The sky is the color of a soft purple plum. A small lantern winks on a fishing boat in the harbor. The fishermen are folding their nets. The cicadas in the pine trees have already gone to sleep. If you listen very, very carefully, you can hear a tiny, faraway bell. It rings from somewhere beyond the city, across the dry, yellow grass. That bell has been ringing for almost 1,700 years. Tonight, I will tell you why. Long, long ago, in the year 327, a small wooden ship sailed towards Cyprus. The sea was angry that afternoon. The waves climbed higher than the mast. Cold rain stung the sailors' cheeks. On the deck stood an older woman in a dark blue cloak. Her name was Helena. She was the mother of the Emperor of Rome. But that afternoon, she was simply a cold, tired traveler, holding the rail with shaking hands. "Empress, the rocks are close," called the captain. His voice trembled like a candle flame in a draft. Helena closed her eyes. She felt the salty wind tug her hair. "If we land safely," she whispered, "I will build a small house of prayer right here on this shore." Slowly, the wind softened. The waves grew gentle as a cradle. The ship slipped past the dark rocks like a careful fish. By the next morning, the sky was washed clean. It was the color of a robin's egg. The ship rested on the warm sand of a peninsula called Akrotiri, just outside Limassol. Helena stepped onto the wet pebbles. She bent down and pressed her hand to the sand. The sand was already drying in the new sunshine. "I keep my promises," she said. The captain smiled a small, shaky smile. The sailors knelt down and kissed the warm ground. But Cyprus was a tired island that summer. No rain had fallen for many, many months. The wells were almost empty. The wheat had dried into pale, crackling whiskers. Even the lemon trees looked thirsty. There was something else, too. In the dry, yellow grass, quick little rustlings moved everywhere. Cyprus had snakes. So many snakes. Far too many for children to run barefoot. Far too many for the farmers to gather their wheat. A small girl with curly black hair tugged Helena's sleeve. She was carrying a clay water jug almost as big as herself. "Empress, please," she said softly. "We are afraid to walk to the well." Helena was quiet for a long time. She watched a tiny lizard freeze on a sunny rock. She watched a small brown bird hop very, very carefully through the straw. She felt the dry wind on her face. Then she clapped her hands once. "Cats," she said. "We need cats." Her helpers blinked at her. "Cats, my lady? Cats are clever. Cats are quick. Cats keep the snakes far away from people. They will help." She wrote her letters that very afternoon. She sent fast boats across the sea to a faraway land called Egypt. She sent more boats to a place called Palestine. The sailors carried her notes carefully under their cloaks. Weeks later, the boats came back. They were full of warm fur and bright yellow eyes. Hundreds and hundreds of cats slept in baskets of straw. They dreamed of fish and tall grass and tiny scampering things. When the baskets opened on the Akrotiri shore, the cats stretched their long backs. They blinked at the sunlight. They sneezed at the salt in the air. The little girl with the water jug crept closer. "Are they really for us?" she whispered. "They are for everyone," said Helena. "Be kind to them. They have come a very long way." The girl crouched down in the warm sand. A small ginger cat with white paws padded right up to her and pushed his head into her hand. He smelled of straw and sea air. "Hello," she breathed. The cat closed his eyes and rumbled like a tiny purring kettle. Helena kept her promise. She built her small house of prayer right there on the peninsula. She named it after Saint Nicholas, who watches over sailors. Kind women in long gray robes came to live inside it. They were called nuns. They loved the cats very much. The nuns built a tall wooden bell tower beside the chapel. Every morning, just as the sun rose pink over the sea, one of them would climb up and pull a thick rope. Every evening, just as the sun melted gold into the water, she would climb up again. The bell would sing, slow and clear, like a quiet word floating across the fields. When the cats heard it, they came running. They came from the dry stone walls. They came from under the olive trees. They came from the warm, flat rocks beside the sea. Some cats had fur the color of toast. Some were gray as smooth river stones. Some were black with little white socks. A few had soft, sandy stripes. The nuns set out long wooden bowls. They scattered fish and cooked grain and tiny crumbs of bread. The cats purred louder than the wind. They ate slowly. They washed their whiskers. Then they yawned big pink yawns and padded back into the long, quiet afternoon, year after year, sleepy century after sleepy century. The little girl with the water jug grew up. She had children. Her children had children. The cats had kittens, and the kittens had kittens, all the way down to today. Tonight, almost 1,700 years later, the monastery is still there. The little chapel still stands beside the warm sea. The bell still rings at sunrise. It still rings at sunset. If you ever travel to Limassol, you can take a small bus down a dusty road to Akrotiri. You will see the old stone walls, soft and golden in the afternoon light. You will see the tiny chapel, and you will see them. About 60 or 70 cats lazing in the courtyard. They are the great-great-great-grandchildren of the kittens who once arrived in Helena's boats. A small ginger cat may pad up and bump her head against your shoe. You can crouch down and whisper, "Hello, I know who your great-grandmother was." She will half close her eyes and blink at you slowly. That is how a Cyprus cat says, "I like you." The sun will be setting. The sea will turn lavender, then deep navy. Somewhere up in the tower, a nun in a gray robe will reach for the rope. The old wooden beams will creak just a little, and then the bell will sing again. Across the courtyard, 60 heads will lift, tails will twitch. The little ginger cat will give your shoe one last polite nudge. Then she will trot off, very serious, into the slow parade going home. Tonight, before you sleep, close your eyes. Listen very carefully. Across all that warm blue water, across all those quiet years, you can almost hear it. The cats are walking home through the olive grove. The nuns are folding their gray robes. The lantern in the harbor is winking out. And so, Limassol also slowly, slowly fell asleep. Good night.